Hi, I'm Varsha and I welcome you all to my channel In the Buckets, and in today's video I'm going to do a wrap up of all the books that I have read in the month of May. So in this month I have read only 7 books and one of which is for college, and the others are here which I'm going to talk and show you. So the first book that I have read this month is Tess of the Udabel by Thomas Hardy, and I'm really in love with Thomas Hardy's writing style. So this is my second Hardy read, the first being Far from the Madding Crowds, and his writing, his description of the natural surrounding is just so beautiful, along with connecting characters' mood with that scene and what they are feeling or what they are thinking is just such a joy to read. And I was really prepared because I have heard people say that this book is really tragic, but I found it really entertaining and just something I will recommend you all to read from Thomas Hardy. The next book that I have read this month is The Meal on the Floss by George Eliot. So this is my third read by her, the first and the second being Middlemarch and Daniel Deronda. Those two are more than 800 pages and this book is only 500 pages, and I just have no words to describe. The plot in this book is about these two siblings and how they are united, divided, and finally united. So this is more about this protagonist called Maggie and her relationship with Tom, her brother. And this is something unique that I found in this book because not many books show the relationship of siblings like this book has. So Maggie is a really intelligent girl in this late Victorian society, but she has no scope to develop her intelligent side or to go out into the world and to work as her brother does. And I have made a review video of this book, and I will not speak much about this book. You can see that video down below, which I will link. Next book I have read this month is the oldest one in English language. Not that old, it's written in the late 1800s, and this book is Formula by Samuel Richardson. And this book is written in epistolary, so this is my favorite form of writing. That means this book is written in diary entries and letter format by the protagonist Formula, who is the servant of this master who chases her ruthlessly for physical intimacy. But as this title of this novel suggests, formula or virtue rewarded, Formula never lets herself be in touch with her master, and for her virtue to save herself from this ruthless persuasion by her master, she is rewarded at the end of the novel. And it's really interesting to read this book read her life through her perspective, and it's full of drama and twists and turns, which is really entertaining. The last novel that I have read this month is The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger. I was not sure if I should or should not read this book, but at last I read this book and I'm glad I did, because this book is just such a book. It's one of a kind read, because the story is about the alienation, this phrase in a teenager's life that I guess every teenager has experienced and is experiencing, and that is being disconnected with his or her environment, with people, with just his or her life. And this book is about the 16-year-old Holden who is thrown out of yet another school because he fails in every language except English, and he doesn't want to go back home soon for the Christmas holidays. So he roams around New York City, exploring places and meeting old friends and girlfriends, and he just talks about people and and he just comments on the age, and he says that people are really phony. That means they are all the same. They do what they see other people doing, like if they are bored or they have some free time, they go to see movies or the opera or the Broadway. What I love about this book is Holden can communicate with anybody, like literally anybody. Like he can communicate with the mother of his hostel mate, and it's just so interesting to listen to his conversations with people and how he remarks on those people. He even had communication or just a simple talk on Romeo and Juliet with this two nuns who were English and history teachers in New York, and he also can communicate with children and is really close to his sister. And it's just one of a kind read and something everyone can relate to at 1 or 2 points. Collection of poetry called Learn from the Almond Leaf by Eunice D'Souza, if I'm pronouncing it right. So D'Souza, Mrs. D'Souza, is a leading poet in 20th century Indian English poetry. And this being said, I want to read to you one of her poems. And if you will see her poems, they are really short. They're like one stanza poems. So this is my favorite poem by her. This is known as Going. "You're going," she said, as his coffin was carried to the grave. He didn't reply. Of course, he never replied. Popping peanuts into his mouth, he went through the evening paper. At breakfast, egg yolk dribbled down his chin. D'Souza has this ability to present the tragic moments in a really witty and hilarious form, which I really love, and which is next to, I guess, Longton Hughes. So the last book that I have read this month is Glimpses of Odia Poetry by Bhagesena Mahapatra. And this book is so interesting. So I am an Odia, which is one of the ancient languages of India, and these poetry are written in Odia, and this translator has converted them into English. Like this one is called Ode to the Coral Jasmine, and this book has poems about history, about Odia history, namely the history of Odisha, and on architecture, on the beauty of Chilika Lake, which is one of the tourist destinations in Odisha. And I am just in love with the collection in this book. So I'm an Odia, but I have problem reading Odia because I just don't have the practice to read in this language. So my mom got me this book so I can read Odia, and where I have problem I can read it in English. So here is Odia, and the other half of this book is in English, which is really interesting, and I really love this book. It has French flaps and images of poets, which is cool, and a little biography of them. So these were all the books that I have read this month. And if you like this video, then do like and subscribe for similar videos on books, literature, classic books, poetry. And I will meet you in my next video. Till then, have a safe lockdown. Bye guys.